Recorded. This is our usual meeting. We are going to open it up at 7:10 for the public hearing for the installation of 6 cell tower antenna at 82 West Main Street, Erving, Mass. By National Grid. Would you like to come up and present?
Good evening. My name is Robin Latour. I'm representing National Grid, also known as Massachusetts Electric. The purpose of me being here is for the special permit for the installation. They're actually installing 3 antennas at the location of 82 West Main Street that will be leased by American Tower, who owns the tower that's located there. The purpose of them installing the antennas would be not for wireless communications. It's National Grid is building a network for outage restoration, so whenever the power goes out in the areas, they can restore it quicker in certain areas. They're kind of concentrating on Western Mass right now is their location.
Okay, I will open it up to the board. Does the board have any concerns or questions, or want to ask the applicant anything?
Not a concern. Question: how do these antennas help to restore the power quicker?
What do you mean? So there's like a wireless.
Yep.
They'll signal someone, and then they'll just press a button and restore it. I don't really know how the engineering part works of it. I'm more or less on the permitting and leasing side of it.
Okay.
I don't really know the logistics on how it works, but it's supposed to be instant or within minutes.
Okay.
So we'll call the customer and let them know that there's an outage, or?
No, it's for National Grid to restore the outage.
Okay.
So customers don't have to, call
okay.
or notify National Grid. They'll restore it. Unless it's like a disaster where there's lines, but if it's like an outage, they can just, flick a switch and put the power on.
Okay.
Unless it's, like a natural disaster, they'll
right.
have to go out and send, crews out, but they'll be notified quicker for those locations.
So it's my understanding there are 3 existing customers on that tower?
I believe there are 2.
Oh, there are only 2?
Verizon and T-Mobile.
Oh, okay. I thought 18
yeah.
on there. Okay. Okay, so it's Verizon and T-Mobile. So I know in our bylaws the total is 6. So you have more than enough space to add the antenna. You did explain the social, economic, or community needs which are served by the proposal. These are part of the criteria for the special permit. I'm not assuming there's any traffic flow or safety issues since you're just installing on the cell tower. And you're not creating parking or loading because the tower's already in existence. Will there be adequacy of the utilities to service the antenna that you're installing for National Grid?
What do you mean by that question?
Do they have enough already pulled through to add the extra antenna, or this project will be part of that?
No, the 3 antennas will be just that.
I don't see any change in the neighborhood character or social structure, and no impacts on the natural environment as the structure is already pre-existing. Let's see, potential fiscal impact, including impact on town services, tax base, and employment. They will be part of the assets of National Grid, which means we will get a few extra dollars from them. Does anybody else have anything else?
No. I don't think so. It's already an existing tower. It's just adding to it, so.
Okay, well then, if there's none, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7.
Motion?
Oh, I have to make a motion. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I will second that motion.
Okay. None being, then we're going to close the public hearing at 7. Oh, wait a minute. Don't have to vote. Vote after close, right?
No, vote to close.
Vote to close, and then we have to vote to approve.
Yep.
After we close. That's right. No, right. I haven't read these in a while. I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:13 p.m. Then I take the vote. If we want to call for a vote on whether to approve or not approve the special permit, it has to be by roll call. Newton? Aye, or?
The motion to approve the special permit.
Oh, yes, a motion to approve the
So-
special permit. I'm rusty,
I'll make a
really
motion
rusty.
to approve Massachusetts Electric Company, 3 antenna installation, on the existing tower at 82 West Main Street.
I will second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, roll call, right? We have to, that's when we do the roll call. Newton?
Smith, aye.
Burnett, aye.
Boyden, aye. Okay, so we have approved your special permit. It will, there is a 20-day waiting period for it to clear, and it will be in the town clerk's office. After that, they will send a letter to you letting you know that whether or not anybody has questioned it or appealed it during that time period.
And does that start when it's filed or today?
I have to write the decision. It might not be today, it might be next week. I need to
Okay.
check. I'm
Okay.
sorry I'm so rusty, and it's been a
That's
while
okay.
since we've done a special permit. I believe it's from today, but I might be when
Okay.
when we
I know
issue the
other-
decision. Oh, it's okay.
I know other towns, it's usually when it's filed
Yeah.
by the clerk, so.
Right. So it'll be,
We'll start.
I'll write the decision up by next week, so,
Okay,
okay?
okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, so the public hearing has over, so we can go on to our new business. Well, actually, let's go over some of the old business. So we still had the travel trailer definition. We were pending. I've asked the Board of Health to weigh in on that. They have not gotten back to me yet. The ADU regulations bylaw change, I talked with town council. He is in the midst of town meeting, so he assures me that he'll try to get to it maybe sometime in June. But we will have to make some slight changes to our bylaw, mostly dealing with the detached ADU based on the law that the governor passed. The mobile home definition removal is something we'll just do it when we do all our zoning changes. We talked about the manufactured home definition and bylaw change. We wanted to add it to the use table. The shared driveways curb cut definition bylaw changes. I've checked with Highway Super Glenn McCory, and I need to double check because they weren't sure if it belonged with us or if it belonged in their road bylaw.
Oh, interesting.
Well, you know, and then, and also I think that was a question for the town.
Sorry, I'm a little behind. Would you say for the travel trailer definition, we're waiting on who?
The Board of Health.
Okay.
Yep. And the townhouse versus condominium definition, I've actually been talking to Glenn about that because I don't quite understand what the difference is. And we still have, for a future meeting, defining mixed-use space. We wanted to relook at the PUD bylaw, and if you could find that for us in the old files, maybe at our next meeting we could revisit it.
Sure. What is it again?
It's called a PUD.
Okay.
Planned? No.
Planned unit development.
Okay.
I think it's planned, yeah, planned
Yeah.
unit development.
Okay. The subdivision controls, rules and regulations, final review. Deb had taken lead on that.
So same, the attorney we're working with it's Brian Falk, same as with ADUs. I'm gonna reach back out to him. He said he would get it to us. However, he had agreed to have it to us by the 28th of April.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna touch base with him and point that out. And I did tell him that our hearing for that is May 29th. And so that we wanted a minimum of 2 weeks to review those materials. So I will reach back out to him by the end of the week and just kind of reiterate that.
I did have in my notes from our last meeting that we need to publish 2 weeks in advance too, so I think we're running out of time.
Okay.
We won't, did he say he had any revisions based off of?
He said that someone has already reviewed it once and it was down to him looking at it. He did not mention if there were revisions or not. What is our date that we have to put it in the paper? Do we have to publish the entire bylaw in the paper?
No, we published that it's going to be a public hearing.
Okay.
It's a small little thing, but it's
Okay.
2 weeks. So we're going to have it on the 29th. You back up to the 22nd, and you back up to 7 days prior to that. So by this,
That's
From
Thursday.
tomorrow?
A week from tomorrow.
yeah, a
Okay.
week from tomorrow.
Who are we waiting on for that?
Town attorney.
20. So my only concern is I don't want to rush this, and if they found revisions that they're going to suggest on the subdivision control bylaw, I want us to have time to review them before the public hearing. So depending on if he gets back to you tomorrow or not, we may have to bump that meeting ahead into June. And because I want to make sure that we're well versed in and comfortable with it as well, because it is a public hearing.
Were we always planning to do that? Because last time we had talked about it, and maybe I misunderstood, it was I was going to work with him to get it done, and we scheduled the meeting for the 29th, and we had not talked about having another meeting before that. So I thought we were going right into public hearing on the 29th, because I'd like to see we're going to have a special town meeting in June, and I'd like to see these get presented, because our list just keeps growing, and I feel like this is something we're almost done with that we should be able to put on.
I
don't think we necessarily need to meet. I think we just need enough time to
I'm hoping
to
for
be
2
able
weeks.
to
I told him that we had to have
yeah.
a minimum of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that, I guess that's where I was getting at it, but if he comes back, this is my concern. If he comes back and he says, everything was fine, but we don't like section blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
right? Then we're gonna need to review what his suggestions would be for section blah, 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 right? To see if we're comfortable with it. Then
we might have to have a meeting.
we might have to have a meeting. That's the only concern that I have. So why don't we leave it at this? We're gonna we're definitely all set for the 29th. We have enough time to
Yeah.
run.
You could plan to have it anyway, and then if you want to continue it,
We
you
could.
would have already had your postings and everything.
We could do that. So why don't we continue for the 29th unless he doesn't get back to you at all. And then I know I'm going to need the full 2 weeks to review it.
I likely will as well.
There's no way. We're still going to pencil in the 29th regardless. So maybe if we can't maybe what we can do is have an informal, not a public hearing per se, but they call it like the pre-hearing, where we could put it on the agenda, and if somebody wants to come, we can talk about it if there's changes. And if not, it will still be the public hearing. So we can open it and then continue it, right?
Yeah.
That would be the worst case scenario. So let's, if everybody's comfortable with that, we'll plan on opening the public hearing on the 29th. And if we haven't had adequate time to review it, then we could continue it. Does that work for everybody?
Sure.
All right. So we'll just have you put it in the newspaper for whatever the dates are when we back them up. And then the only other one was we had talked about at the last meeting, the accessory building definition change, and so we need to start working on some of those things. I know I have a bunch of notes from that, and now that Glenn's on board, we can start working towards that. I didn't want to flood him with everything all at once and chase him off. Okay, so I think that's it. That's all I had for new business, unless there was something else that anybody else had or wanted to bring forward.
This is just by means of notes. I talked to the town a little bit about using OneNote for putting notes on. If
Yep.
that works for everyone, I can email them right now.
Okay.
Otherwise, I can just print on them.
No, that sounds
If
great.
anyone has a preference.
Email's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Anything else?
I don't have anything.
2 things. I would like us to I'm gonna be really honest, I am frustrated with our list just continuing to grow and feeling like we're not making headway. And I feel like we keep having meetings, but we're not making progress. And so I would like to see us, maybe for the 29th, come up with some direction as to how we can start chipping away at some of this. Some of this has been on our list for over a year. And like travel trailer definitions, there's no reason why we can't be working with Board of Health on that. I just feel like we're very stagnant and we're not making progress and moving forward. And for me personally, I am someone who, I have a task, I need to get it completed. We can do this and let's move forward. And knowing, it feels like a lot of it is let's come to a meeting, let's review the writ list, and then let's just not actually make decisions and move things forward. And I'm really struggling with that. And so I think it might be helpful if maybe all of us can kind of come together and determine how we can start chipping away at this and making progress. Because it feels like right now we're just kicking the can down the road over and over again, and it doesn't feel like a productive use of any of our time.
So the trailer travel definition, we're waiting on the Board of Health. I will inquire again, but I've already asked them. I sent them an email. I told them what we wanted to know. They have done nothing. I can inquire again.
Do they only have one member right now? Or what was
They have two, and on July 1st they'll have 3.
Okay, so we can't get anything from them until
Well, I'll ask the chair again where they are, if they address it at their meeting. The ADU regulations is in the town council's court. So when I can get him to give us a sample of what would be, then we can move forward with that.
Right, and Jackie, I'm not asking to go over the list again. I know what the list is. I'm just saying it feels like it's very kick the can, and stuff doesn't feel like it's moving forward. And I'm to be honest, I'm really surprised to hear that people weren't thinking of May 29th as a public hearing, because that's how it was presented to me. So now this idea of, well, we may want to meet again before that, and we may want to postpone things further, is very surprising, because I've been working we're going to do it for May 29th, and we can finally move forward with it and hopefully check it off the list and be done.
So let me back up a little bit. I am also had the 29th as our public hearing. The problem is that we hadn't heard from the attorney. I'm fine with the public hearing for the subdivision control bylaws. I just didn't know if they had found anything that they didn't like in that particular document yet. So he hasn't gotten back to you yet. So that's the only thing that I'm uncertain about. I'm hoping that we can, on the 29th, we're going to have our public hearing and we're going to be done with it. As far as the other ones, some of them I waited because Glenn just started, and that's been some of the delay. But I think now that he's had some time to get used to it, we can start working on some of it. The mobile home definition is just drafting it, getting ready for the town meeting. FERCog has already given us a definition to use. It's the same thing with the change in the manufactured home definition and adding it to the use table. I will again inquire about the shared driveways and the curb cuts with highway. And we already know the senior housing facility definition change is just a change, it's a bylaw change. So once we get all those drafted, then about 3 of the things will be off our list, or 4 actually. So I'm hoping that on the 29th we hold a public hearing, and maybe we'll have some draft language for the zoning bylaw changes. And in time for a fall special town meeting. They usually have one in the fall, is what my hope was. The public hearing subdivision control rules and regulations is something that we vote on internally and adopt. It does not go before town meeting. So then the list will get definitely smaller. But I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you on some of it. So our next meeting will be on the 29th. We've set it for 7 p.m.
Is that just the public hearing, or
Well,
we'll meet also?
We'll meet also. I'm hoping maybe Glenn and I can have some time to get together on some of the changes. Like I said, the mobile home for COG, FCCIP already gave us. We just have to draft it in the right format. And, do you know when the town meeting is, the special town meeting? is
They're
for
just
June?
talking about having one in June.
Okay, all right.
I don't
know if
believe a
we'll-
date has been set yet or not.
I don't know if we'll have enough time to meet the legal obligations. We might, though. We'll have to talk. Maybe we can talk next week and
Yeah.
at least knock off a couple of the simple ones. And then there's that. So, if there's nothing else anybody else has, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I have one more.
Oh, okay.
We had talked about this ages and ages ago, I think when Mel and Janice joined. Now that we have a planner back,
Yes.
I would very much like, and this is coming from experience I had, for us to have a planning board handbook. When Jackie was unavailable, I had to host a public hearing. I was horribly embarrassed at my lack of knowledge of how to do it appropriately, and realized very quickly there was not a firm resource that I could go to. I mean, yes, there was the town administrator and things like that, but on the fly, in the heat of the moment, there wasn't any way to like grab something and look it up and be like, oh, I have a question about how to take this vote, and hey, audience, give me a sec and look it up. And so I don't know if something like that might exist with another community. I am definitely not a let's recreate the wheel person. But I think it might be helpful for all of us, because as boards come and go and commissions change, having something that says, this is how you do this, these are the steps involved for this, I think would be very helpful. Institutional knowledge is one thing, but at some point, she's going to think that she can leave, and we're all going to be up a creek.
No, I think, I admit a handbook would be very nice.
Yeah.
We've had some changes and some missteps that if we had a handbook, everyone would know. So it would be
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
So, and speaking of new faces, it's my understanding that Tom Glennon won the write-in vote for planning board. So
We have a fifth?
We'll have a full committee.
Did he accept?
He did.
Yay!
Then we'll have a full committee on July 1st. Which is
That's
a long
fantastic.
time in coming, so, yes, so that'll be great. So is there anything else? Anybody else? Concerns, comments? Life is good?
Motion
Life
to
is bad?
adjourn at 7:30 p.m.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.